What is up, everybody, and welcome to FLW Videos. In today's episode, we're going to be performing a deep dive on the regional exclusive Pokemon known as Heracross in Pokemon Go. The reason for that is because of the Ultra Bonus Unlock Part 2 has Heracross spawning worldwide in raids so that everyone can have access to it. Now, if you're one of those people who simply doesn't have Heracross in your Pokédex, you're excited just to get Heracross in your Pokédex and not have to travel to its region to be able to get it. And then, of course, if you already have Heracross, you are excited about a second piece of information centered around this Pokemon, and that's the fact that the shiny variant is being made available. You have the chance to get it in raid, so a lot of people are excited about that. But then, of course, there's the third group. What about the people who already have Heracross as its regional exclusive? You, of course, are excited about the shiny, but you may be considering a third option, such as trying to hunt this Pokemon in the wild, not have to pay for raids once you get past your free raid pass, and just go out there and hunt in the wild. That could be a lot of fun. Well, I've got a little bit of bad news for you, because Niantic, although never gave an update for this, never disclosed it, never said anything, behind the scenes, what they have done is completely removed all Heracross spawns in the wild, even, of course, within the region of Heracross in all of South America, parts of Texas, parts of Florida, completely gone. So guess what? The only way that you can get Heracross for now is currently put into raids. Now, maybe after this event is over 2 weeks later, you could end up seeing Heracross spawning back out in the wild, but is the shiny going to be made available permanently moving from here on out? I don't know. Hence, a lot of people are a little bit more pressured to maybe do it because they don't know if this is going to be their only chance to get that shiny. So with all of this being said, we're going to be taking a look and answering the question, is Heracross worth powering up in Pokemon Go? Should you use it from the raid side PvP? And then we're also going to take a look at Mega Heracross in Pokemon Go, because my god, this Pokemon has some major potential from the bug typing as well as the fighting typing. So I do hope you enjoy this episode. If you do, make sure to turn that like button shiny and also subscribe if you want to stay up to date on all Pokemon Go news. But without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into the video. Let's go ahead and dive into the stats for this Pokemon. Now, Heracross may appear to be a little bit underwhelming, but if you take it into context that it is a non-legendary Pokemon, I think an overall stat ranking of 125th is pretty impressive for this Pokemon. Now, as far as the attack stat is concerned, that actually ends up being its best overall ranked stat at 234, of course a little bit on the lower side, but we'll address that with the Mega Heracross edition a little bit later. But one main thing to kind of point out, the reason why this Pokemon is still able to rank overall so high is just because of how well-rounded its stats are across the board. It ends up reaching a maximum CP of 3,548 with level 51 Buddy Boost. Now, if we go ahead and take a look at Heracross compared to other bug-type Pokemon and then, of course, fighting-type Pokemon, it ends up shining as far as its stats are concerned versus those bug types, where it ends up being the 5th best overall bug-type Pokemon in Pokemon Go, with the stamina stat actually leading the pack, followed by that attack stat. And then if you check out the fighting type, it ends up dropping a little bit, but that's kind of expected. So it's 17th out of 56. But we have so many good fighters in Pokemon Go, such as Machamp, Conkeldurr, Lucario, Pokemon like that, and they have great movesets as well. So I didn't really expect this Pokemon Heracross to be able to perform too well from that fighting side, but what I am very excited about is to showcase to you the stats and the results when we take a look at Mega Heracross, because it completely changes the way that you look at this Pokemon. If you take a look at Mega Heracross, we have an overall stat ranking of 27th in Pokemon Go. Oh my gosh, that is incredible. And the main way it's able to do it is because of the attack stat ends up getting moved up nearly 100 points to now be ranked at 11th in Pokemon Go with an attack stat of 334. That's a lot. So if we take a look beyond just the attack stat, defense stat also ended up getting a boost up to 223, ranked at 67th. Stamina ends up staying the same. Stamina isn't bad though, so it's basically just a major upgrade. And then of course, if we take a look at the CP here, we can see that it has a level 51 CP maximum of 5,508. And yes, it does have the 9% nerf included into this calculation. So very impressive, very exciting. And then of course, the great news does not stop. If we take a look at its relative comparison, #1 overall for the bug. So regular Heracross takes #5, and then the Mega Heracross ends up taking number 1. And then for the fighters, it ends up moving up to the number 2 spot overall versus those fighting type Pokemon. Wow, this is a Pokemon that I would definitely want to use in Pokemon Go. But the question that I have for you is, how are these Mega Pokemon going to work if they are regionally exclusive? Is the Pokemon going to be released back into raids out to everyone worldwide? Or is it just going to be a Mega that is simply only made available within its region? We're also going to have a similar situation with the Mega Kangaskhan as well, so I would love to know what you think about that in the comments section below. I know what I would want to happen, but I honestly don't know if it will happen, so I 100% want to hear what you have to say about that. If we go ahead and move on, we can talk about the moveset. We've got great news with the move counter. Counter is the most ideal moveset that we can have for the fighting type quick move. We've got Struggle Bug, which is a decent move, not necessarily the best from the bug typing, but it's definitely towards the front. I would say that Mega Horn's in a similar situation, not the best, but definitely towards the front. And then we've got Close Combat. Now, Close Combat does get beat by several moves, such as Dynamic Punch, maybe Aura Sphere as well. So Close Combat, not the most ideal, but hey, we have to work with what Niantic gives us in this particular case. So let's go ahead and take a look at the actual raid performance. Like I said before, we'll talk about the regular Heracross and then also include Mega Heracross in here as well. So first things first, if we go up against a Celebi, this is going to highlight bug type Pokemon because Celebi is double weak to bug types. And if you go ahead and check out this list, you're not seeing Heracross on here, and that's because Heracross ends up being down at the 18th position. Of course, this does include Shadows. This does include the different legendary Pokemon, things like that, but it ends up being 18th overall, just considering everything. However, if you end up including the Mega Heracross, it jumps to the number 1 spot as a bug type attacker, where we've got Struggle Bug, Mega Horn, and then like I said, jumps to the number 1 spot. That's somewhat what we expected based on the stats, and despite the fact that it doesn't have the most ideal moveset, it simply doesn't matter because it had enough slack based on its stats to still hold on to that number 1 position. So super proud of Mega Heracross for being able to jump to that number 1 spot. How well is it going to do versus other types where bug type is super effective, but so are other types? Heracross may drop a little bit, but it's still leading the pack from the bug typing. So beyond that, we can go ahead and move on to the fighting side of this for Heracross. Once again, very similar situation where we go up against Mega Tyranitar. It should highlight all of the fighting type Pokemon. And we're not seeing Heracross on here, and that's because it's in at the 17th position, maybe 16th. I can't quite remember the specific number, but it's a little bit lower. It's not bad, it's just not great. That's kind of like the way that I look at it. But anyways, if we go ahead and add in Mega Heracross into the mix, it actually takes over the number 1 spot away from Shadow Machamp. I never thought that that would be something that we would ever explain. It ends up having less feints, and the time to win ends up going from 512 down to 510. So it's like neck and neck with the Shadow Machamp. But if you put that into context, I think that is impressive for this Pokemon. Now, of course, it is a Mega Pokemon, so, you know, Mega, Shadow, I don't know if it's a fair comparison, but just knowing how good Shadow Machamp is and the fact that Mega Heracross is able to somewhat compete is a pretty cool reason to get out there maybe, and of course to be able to use that Mega Heracross when you are using it in raids. Now the last thing that we have to talk about is from the PvP side, and then we're going to go ahead and dive into like kind of the final thoughts for this. So Heracross ends up doing the best from the Master League Classic version, and this Pokemon is a little bit inconsistent. It ends up being ranked at 59th overall, which is not good for this league. And if you take a look at the actual roles, it is consistent, but it's not the greatest. Closer, it works pretty well, but the fact that it has 2 moves that end up being used as a nuke, like Close Combat and Mega Horn, I think holds it back some from the PvP side. So what exactly do I think of Heracross in Pokemon Go? Well, I would highly recommend you to do at least 1 raid, or just use your free raid passes to get as much candy as you possibly can for this Pokemon, doing it for free. If you are wanting to get out there and get the shiny, then by all means go for it, because we haven't heard what they're going to do with the shiny variant once the event ends up being over. So if you live within that region, you may be a little bit scared of like, well, I don't know if it's going to end up coming, but that's going to be a judgment call for you. I can speculate all I want, but ultimately I don't know exactly what Niantic is going to do. I think Heracross is a great Pokemon given the circumstances. However, the ultimate kind of investment is going to come from the Mega Heracross side. I've got a full approval for using Mega Heracross in the future. But of course, I would love to know what you think about Heracross in the comments section below. Definitely let me know if you plan to raid it or if you're going to end up skipping it. I also want to give a huge shout out to the supporters over at Patreon and the members of YouTube. Thank you so much. If you want to join the exclusive raid where we talk about Pokemon Go, we coordinate for raids, and so much more, check out that Patreon link in the description, and I will see you next time.